You've got two paths in front of you. Path one, you go to a new school, you survive. You talk to maybe one or two people, eat lunch in the library or worse, the bathroom. You go home, binge Netflix, and while you're surviving, everyone else is making memories, picking out prom dresses, going to games and competitions, going to parties, having hangouts, and living the high school life you wish you had. But then there's path two, the version where you glow up, you find your people, make best friends, get involved in hangouts, go to prom, date your crush, and maybe even become popular or just hang out with your dream friend group if that's what you like more. The kind of school life that you can happily look back on. I've lived both, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to go from the lonely surviving path to having the high school life that you wish you had as a new kid. Hi my best friends, and welcome back to my sleepover, and hello from the world's most noisy room. Yes, I have moved yet again, and this time my room faces a highway, which means a lot of traffic noise. I didn't know that I was going to be facing the street when I moved in here, so once I moved I didn't really have a choice. But in this video we're gonna be talking about how to not just survive but thrive as a new kid going to a new school. This video is going to save your life, so take notes. And also check out my how to make friends as a new kid at school video, because that one has some tips that I'm not going to be mentioning in this one. So let's get into these tips. Okay, I'm super excited for this video. So these are going to be the exact steps that you need to take in order to thrive at your new school and have the high school life that you always wish you had. Step number one is going to teach you how exactly to set yourself up for success and how to actually make people perceive you differently. And it's divided into three different parts. Part one is using the novelty bias. This is something that I'm gonna be telling you as a psychology graduate, and it's something that is your secret advantage as a new kid for sure. The novelty bias states that we are more likely to like something when that thing is new. Think about a new iPhone or a new MacBook. You're more likely to be excited or even to pay attention to that new thing. So going into a school as a new kid, you kind of have this advantage that you're new, so people are looking at you and people are paying attention to you. You don't even have to work to gain that attention. And here's exactly how to take advantage of that. Something that I did when I was in school is a bit unconventional, but I'm going to explain why it works based on psychology. Basically, what I did was watching those bad edits of my favorite characters. You know, the ones with like really confident music and where you have a lot of those iconic scenes, but not the short ones, the longer form ones. I did that while I was doing my makeup, and this actually scientifically makes you more confident. Let me explain how this works.
In the 1930s, a researcher named Herbert Bloomer turned his eyes to movies and discovered a curious thing. People weren't just entertained by the characters on screen, they were emotionally merging with them. Laughing, crying, carrying little pieces of those characters into their own lives. But later, the researchers were to discover something that was even more curious. Starting in 1970s and going all the way to 2005, researchers looked into how people didn't just watch their favorite movie characters, they started to imitate those characters. This whole process of slipping into a character's shoes that one admires and sometimes walking away with their traits is known as identification.
When we watch a character on screen, we tend to identify with that character, taking on their traits onto ourselves. And sometimes that identification can actually go past that 10 minutes when you're watching the video and stick with you throughout a part of your day. Have you ever felt a sense of confidence just by watching a confident character being confident on screen? That's because you were identifying with that character and taking on their traits for yourself. The second part that works here is actually the music that is used with those edits, which music has an ability to make you more confident in the moment, and the emotion that the music conveys is contagious. So if you listen to more confident songs, you're going to feel more confident, and that confidence boost is really going to help you present confidently to everyone around you, and people are attracted attracted to confidence. And a secret hack that I also used was listening to subliminals on basically whatever I wanted, which are affirmations that are layered under music so you don't really hear them. They're supposed to affect you subconsciously. And I don't know if there's proof that those work, but I've seen them work so many times in my life. So whether that's a placebo effect or they actually work, they really helped me. So you can steal that from me as well. And the last thing that you need to do in step number 1 is shift your inner self-talk from the nervous newbie to main character energy. Everything that you do reflects right back to you. According to the self-fulfilling prophecy in psychology, everything that you believe about yourself is going to come true. This is not just woo-woo law of attraction type of thing. It is a concept in psychology, which is where how you think about yourself affects how you act, and how you act affects the responses from other people. So if you're going to think about yourself as this, oh, new kid that no one's gonna like and no one's gonna pay attention to, you're most likely are going to act in a way that is going to get the same responses from people. While if you shift your perception and think of yourself as the main character, think of yourself as that cool character in a show, the cool, mysterious new girl that everyone is curious about and everyone wants to know more of, the new girl that is about to conquer the whole school. Your behavior will shift and people are going to start to respond to you differently. I've seen this happen in my own life. When I changed the way that I thought about myself, I went from the girl that no one noticed, that was always in the back of the class, to the girl who had a lot of friends everyone interacted to, and every single person that I liked was weirdly drawn to me. That is the power of your self-concept. The way that you think about yourself really matters. So shift your perspective and watch things change in your life. But that is only the first step, and it's a good stepping stone, but it's not going to fully take you down the path to get the result you want. If you want to become socially magnetic, you need to move on to step number 2. I know how hard it is to talk to people when you're a new kid. The first day that I went to my new school in 9th grade, I only talked to 2 people that day, and one of them was basically a girl kicking me out of my seat.
You can't sit with us!
But that was mostly my fault because I had so many opportunities to talk to people, and I had so many opportunities of people even kind of wanting to talk to me that I've avoided because I was too scared to interact with people. When you're a new kid, you really have to go out of your way to talk to people yourself. If you see someone in the hallway, ask them where the classroom you're going to is. Introduce yourself, say that you're new and kind of lost, and ask them if they can point you to the classroom. Maybe they're even going to the same class and you can make friends with them. Maybe there's someone next to your locker that you can strike up a conversation with. I remember my first day, there was this guy who had a locker next to mine, and he kind of tried to talk to me, looking at my schedule and saying he's had one of the classes that I'm going to. But I was so worried about talking to people that I didn't really say anything and didn't try to entertain the conversation, which I really regretted later on, because later on I wished I could have been friends with that person. And if you have no idea how to start a conversation, I have this video with some really good conversation starters that you can use. And do you want to know how exactly to make people view you more positively, and even those people who might not like you or might be a little aggressive towards you? You have to use something called the Rober's Cave. A Rober's Cave is a famous experiment in social psychology where kids were sent to this camp called the Rober's Cave, which was not actually a camp but a research project, but the kids didn't know that. At first, there were 2 groups of kids that were separated and they were made to compete for different prizes. As a result, the 2 groups were incredibly aggressive towards each other and they were constantly fighting. But afterwards, the researchers wanted to test what happens once you force people to cooperate. Are they going to like each other more? So they assigned groups the tasks that would make them work together in order to get the prize. What happened was that the aggression disappeared and the 2 groups started to grow together and respect each other. What this translates to is basically the fact that when we have to work together with someone to achieve a shared goal, we're going to start liking that person more. Do you know that moment in movies where 2 enemies have to work together to defeat another one? And all of a sudden they start becoming friends. That is exactly what happens. It's so easy to use this in high school. You can try being in a group project with the people that you want to be friends with, or you can try joining a team sport at your school. That is the quickest way to bond with people and make friendships quickly. Basically, put yourself in situations where you're going to have to work with someone to achieve something. But that's not all. Do you know that there's a psychology hack that you can use to get people to like you without really doing anything but being there? It's called the mere exposure effect, which is that we tend to like things that we see often. So by being visible in your school, by going to school events, by participating in things that make you be around people that you want to be friends with a lot, those people are more likely to feel more positive towards you the more that they see you. And one of the best ways to make people like you when you're interacting with them is to be the you were saying person. You know, when someone gets cut off from what they were saying and you're like, oh, so you were saying, prompting them to continue their story, that person is going to feel so good because they know that you were listening to them. And it's not just with the you were saying. You can also show someone that you're actively listening to make them like you more by letting them speak more than you speak, asking them thoughtful follow-up questions, leaning in, nodding from time to time, and one of my favorites, if you do not overuse it, is echoing what they've said back to them. For example, if someone says, oh, I saw this movie in the movie theater last week, it was so fun, and you say, oh, a movie in a movie theater? That sounds nice. Which movie was it? You repeated their last few words back to them, which makes them feel heard and feel good about themselves, which makes them like you more in return. Finally, the fourth psychology hack and step number 2 of becoming socially magnetic is to make sure and give thoughtful compliments to people, not just basic, vague compliments that can be said about anyone, but something specific about them. If they have a pretty hair tie, compliment that hair tie. If they did their nails in a really unique way, compliment that, or something that the person might care about. And I'm going to be coming out with a full video with even more tips on how to be socially magnetic next week or the week after that. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that, then definitely subscribe to the channel. But now that you're socially magnetic, let's talk about how exactly you can become a part of or create your dream group of friends. Step number 3, finding your people. One of the best things that I can tell you guys here is to talk to as many people as you can. Don't limit yourself right away, but interact with a lot of people. That is kind of something that I wished I did right away when I was in school, because when you're new, you have such a good excuse to talk to people and figure out exactly who you want to be friends with, instead of just going along with the first person that talks to you and then looking at the group that you wish you had become a part of like, oh, I wish I talked to them, but now it's kind of too late. Once you see which group you want to be friends with or which person you want to be friends with, you can go and join the same after school activities, the same clubs, and the same sports that they have. Of course, if you like those activities yourself as well. But being around that person, especially in that place where you have a shared interest, is going to give you something to talk about with them. Like asking for homework if you forgot to write that down, or asking them about their hobbies, or if it's something that's interactive like drama class or sports where you get to either run in pairs or play as a team, you get plenty of open windows to interact with that person and slowly start becoming friends with them. And if it's a certain group that you want to become a part of, start with one person that seems the most friendly out of that group and slowly start becoming friends with them. Don't expect to be invited in right away, because when people have their own friend group, they're not as quick to let anyone in. So slowly work on that. First, becoming friends with one person from that friend group, start talking to that person, compliment that person, and then slowly, once you've built this kind of talking on a consistent basis, maybe even following each other on social media, texting, you can find out a common interest between you and that person. Maybe like the same movie, or both of you like to paint. You can invite them to hang out based on that interest. For example, asking them if they want to see the new Hunger Games movie with you, or if they want to hang out sometime after school and paint. And then the more that you invite this person here and there, they at some point will probably just invite you together with their friend group. Which leads us to step number 4, which are the most important things to keep in mind as a new kid. First of all, it's okay if you don't make friends right away. Friendships really take time to develop. If you don't fit any existing friend group at your school, you can always make your own friend group just using the same social hacks and the same kind of strategy. It is also pretty important for you to figure out what are the main school events that people are going to. For example, at my school, we had the yearly lock-in where people would sleep over at the school, and that was one of the main events of the school that people would attend a lot, and that would get people to make a lot of fun memories. And the biggest mistake that I made when I went to that school at first was skipping that, because I skipped out on so many amazing moments and friends that I could have made, which I realized only after I went to that event next year. I realized how fun it was and how much people actually made friends and interacted with each other. Don't be afraid to be a part of things. Don't be afraid to talk to people. View yourself as the main character in your mind and watch how things start to change for you. And one of the most important parts is that don't give up if someone is mean to you. I had a horrible experience my first day of school, which I talk about at the end of this video right here. So if you guys want to know more about that and what I learned and some other things that I haven't mentioned in this video, then definitely check out this video. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!